Hi everybody, Emmy here with the Graveyard Shift Talk Show.
Everybody's going to the graveyard shift. This is what you wanna do. Everybody's going to the graveyard shift. See what Emmy's got in store for you. Pop culture fandom, talking with celebrities, funny facts and fun giveaways. Anime and gaming, science fiction movies, ghost hunting, it's on today. Everybody's going to the graveyard shift. This is what you wanna do. Everybody's going to the graveyard shift. See what Emmy's got in store for you. Graveyard shift. This is what you wanna do. Everybody's going to the graveyard shift. See what Emmy's got in store for you. Everybody's going to the graveyard shift. This is what you wanna do. Everybody's going to the graveyard shift. See what Emmy's got in store for you.
Via the Graveyard Shift Talk Show. See you later, bye. Hi guys, it's me, Emmy, and this is the Graveyard Shift Talk Show. Deep into the 9th season, we are still going strong, still awesome, still rocking it as we always are, and it has been a really exciting season. I want to thank you guys so much for being so loyal. It really means so much to me. I read all your emails that you send me. I read all your messages. I really appreciate them. It makes me happy to know that even though we're not doing the weekly live feed like we used to do, that you guys are still on board, and that just makes me really happy. I want you to know that there's going to be a lot of really, really positive, really awesome, epic changes coming to the show. As I'm sure you can notice behind me, we have a new logo, and it was made by a really talented guy named Dave Velez. Dave Velez, he's a musician, he's an artist, graphic designer, he's a performer, he does all kinds of stuff. And, some of you might know him from working on the music with the Jalbert brothers, Brian and Jake Jalbert, on their Haunted Tours, massively popular paranormal reality series, which, by the way, you can find on Amazon Direct Video and Prime, Amazon Prime as well. And, the other things that Dave has worked on is Top Chef, and he's done some stuff for the Sci-Fi Network. So, obviously, we're really happy to welcome him to the EDS Studios family, to the Graveyard Shift family. So, at any rate, here we are in the 9th season. One of the first things I wanted to show you, I know you saw the Suncoast Credit Union Gasparilla International Film Festival 2018 interviews that I did. And by the way, thank you for all the likes and all the shares on those. I'm glad you guys like those. So now what I'm going to share with you is a very special interview with two young artists that are really, really cool guys, Danny and Tanner. And no, this isn't a revival of Full House. These guys are EDM, basically DJs extraordinaire, and very talented guys, very nice young guys. They're basically performing all over the place. They've got tour dates lined up, and I caught up with them at the new nightclub, the Pegasus, which is an absolutely fantastic looking place. If you haven't been there yet, you guys got to check it out. Just look it up, Pegasus Nightclub I'll put the details on the on this video in the description, and you can check it out. I want to thank my very dear friend John the Poet Thornton for setting this up, this interview up. You might remember I interviewed John, some time ago regarding one of his artists, Echo. The rapper. So this is just yet another one of his acts that he manages, and this is a guy to be reckoned with. I mean, so far everyone that I've seen that comes with him in this industry has a lot of successes. So these are two guys that you gotta keep an eye out for. So at any rate, I hope you guys enjoy the interview, and maybe count along with me on how many times yours truly attempts to be cool, but doesn't quite finish the job. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. And without further ado, here is my interview with Danny and Tanner, the brothers of Ill. Hello, everybody. Emmy here with the Graveyard Shift Talk Show, still deep into the 9th season. Some exciting things happening, guys. I know you've been seeing some new logos out there and maybe a cute little pudgy mascot of some sort. Or some of you might not think he's cute and pudgy, but I do because, that's the way I am. But anyway, more important than that, I am here deep in the heart of Tampa, and I am in a nightclub that is absolutely jumping called Pegasus. You might have heard of it. And I'm sitting here with two very cool guys, very talented guys, Tanner and Danny of the Brothers of Ill. And they are amazing, amazing EDM masters, right? And, it's amazing to me how these guys got their start, because EDM is something that not everybody knows about, right? And the way, basically these two longtime friends formed this EDM group. One of the members, which is Tanner, John Thornton, who was their manager, met at a gas station. Now that's you, right? Yeah. So now, if I understand this correctly, you didn't know that you were a DJ until you showed, or he didn't know that you were a DJ until he showed up to a show. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about that? So how did this all get started? Because I think it's amazing that he met you at a gas station and everything. So can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, well, after me and Danny got done playing baseball, I found a summer job, which still is my job. I work at a gas station. It's kind of like a drive-through beverage castle type thing. And Poet would pull up there every day, get his cigarettes or a couple drinks or something, and we'd talk, and that was it. And we'd chit-chat. And then one day, Monks, one of my favorite DJs, dubstep style DJs that me and Danny look up to, we went out to a show at the old Pegasus, and I ran into John, and we started talking. I was like, hey, I DJ? He's like, yeah, just come out. We have open mic every Tuesday. And I told Danny, and we got ready, and we came out, and that next day he was like, I want to sign you guys. And then I think it was a couple weeks after that we signed a contract together, and now we're here.
Wow, and you guys have just been like doing stuff like ever since. Now you're Danny, right? Yeah. And you're Tanner. Yeah. Are either of you guys Full House fans?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got that reference, I bet.
We get it a lot.
Hey, and for those of you that don't get it, I'm so sorry. You're just, you're not cool like us. But anyway, there you go. So for maybe some in the viewing audience that may not necessarily know what EDM is, can somebody, one of you guys, or maybe both of you, give me an idea of what is EDM for the non-knowledgeable viewing public?
EDM is a very generic, I feel like it's a very generic way of describing the style of music that it is. I feel like EDM is like right here, and then there's so many subgenres that fall underneath that, to where you could say you like EDM but have absolutely no idea what kind of music it is that we're even into. So that's kind of just breaking the barrier of it. But we're all into like the bass music, so that's for house fans it's a little bit different. There is some there's bass house, but tech house and house music is a lot different than bass music. And nothing against that, we're huge fans of both, just because that's what we started listening to that. It wasn't like this was the first thing we ever listened to. It's like when you first start listening to rap, your senses change. You adapt to what comes out, and you get into everything else. But I mean, it's hard to really describe it to somebody who doesn't understand it without bringing them to a show, because that's how we both got into it. You know, it wasn't just somebody described it to us and we were like, wow, we really like that, let me hear it. It was more or less like, I don't know how I feel about that, take me to a show. And that's kind of how it started for us 5, 6, 7 years ago now, it seems like.
Wow. So, I mean, it's basically what I've understood it is basically you guys man the board. You man this equipment board, like kind of like a DJ set. Yeah. And then you have music pumping into it, and then you just mix the hell out of it, right? Yeah.
For live shows, that's exactly what it is. When we're performing live, that's exactly what you see.
And I mean, is it like improvised? Do you basically do the mixes right then and there? Like, we could be listening to, forgive me if I'm totally okay, if somebody's listening to, like, I don't know, Pump Up the Jam. That's how old I am, okay? And I mean, that's cool. Oh, yes, I'm in the club. And so you guys would then take that and just basically just remix the hell. That's basically where the whole remix thing came from, is this kind of, not necessarily EDM, but this kind of genre of music.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically, you could take Pump Up the Jam and you could choose a song that same style, the same beat pattern and everything, and they kind of the same key where they sound together, and you can mix them together, which is, I mean, you could call it a live remix. That's pretty much what me and him do.
You mentioned remix. If you go onto YouTube and you just pick the most popular R&B song, hip-hop song, whatever song right now, and just type in dubstep remix, you're going to get hundreds of different remixes. You know what I'm saying? Same thing for trap remix, house remix. You're going to get all of these different remixes because that's how the world is now. I mean, as soon as something happens, it goes viral. Within 10 minutes, somebody's doing a remix of whatever it could be. It could be somebody talking. They're going to remix it somehow just because that's where we're at, you know, in this.
It's funny you said that, because my kids are listening to remixes of cartoon stuff. Like, they could be like dialogue. I mean, it's unreal. So it's rave. So I mean, some of like, I remember being back in the day of the raves and stuff like that. So do you guys do that kind of stuff as well with this, or?
I mean, you could call it a rave. I mean, I guess you can kind of say the raves is kind of the early 90s, like early 2000s term, but I mean, there's still plenty of raves, festivals going on. I mean, every night, every weekend. So I mean people call them raves, people call them festivals.
The music may be different, but the atmosphere and the feeling you get when you're there is completely different. You know, or completely the same.
It's electric. It's really
the same. You know, like I get the same feeling when I go to a festival now that I did 5 years ago when I went for the first time. I'm still like, wow, this is incredible, because you don't get that same. Everybody is there for the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like for one weekend, for one night, everybody's there for the same thing. They're all there for music, and that's the best part. You know?
That's awesome. And I just, what amazes me is that you guys are talking about coming into this, not necessarily knowing necessarily what it is, but you were able to just jam into it. You were able to just connect into it and able to master it. And that's what amazes me the most. I mean, so for most musicians, you got to learn your craft. You got to hone it. You've got to really work on it. But you guys were able to just go into it. So how did you learn how to, you know, work the board? Like, if somebody out there wants to learn to DJ, you know, what would be your advice to them? How would they get into it? Practice.
A lot of practice. I learned from him, to be honest.
You learned from him, really?
It's not even about having the equipment in front of you. It's about knowing your music. It's about being able to read music, you know, wave measures and everything like that. You know, I taught myself how to mix just off my computer before I even touched a board. Once you get onto a board, if you already know your music, the mixing just comes naturally because you already know. You know what I mean? It's practice. It's hours of organizing to know when you want to play certain songs, what goes with what, and everything like that. If you just hand me, you know, a folder of a bunch of country songs that I don't know, I'm gonna be like, what do you want me to do with this? You know, but it's like, you know, it's just like learning math. Like, nobody's going to be good at math if you don't practice it. I mean, I can't speak on my behalf because I suck at math, and
me too.
I try really hard. It just doesn't happen. But, you know, sometimes you're just not good at it. But I mean, when it comes to music, if you put the time in, it reflects. You know, it really does.
That's great. And so you guys have been obviously performing and doing tours locally, and you're here tonight at the Pegasus. You're going to do some kind of big party and stuff, and.
Yeah. We got a couple other, probably five other local DJs coming in. A couple of them played at the Ritz and played all over Orlando, so it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a lot a lot of heavy bass coming in. It's gonna be a good time.
I was gonna say, I hope your speakers are strong because, man, let me tell you. So I mean, that's amazing. So they're really, it really. I wanted to highlight this kind of. I don't want to call it underground because it isn't anymore, is it? It's mainstream now. It used to be underground, but now it's like you come and for the viewing public, a lot of them experience is just coming into a club and just dancing. So they don't really, they don't think about the behind the scenes kind of stuff.
And honestly, it's crazy because we didn't either when we first got into this. Yeah. And you learn so much every day that it's kind of, and that's the thing. We came from playing baseball, so coming into this, it's a completely different industry. If you take that same mentality of being an athlete and putting in the work, on the field, in the weight room, everything like that, to music, it'll benefit you there, and then learning the industry as a whole it's a completely different ballgame, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a crazy ride already. It's only been 4 months.
Wow, for that period of time, and you guys are already as big as you are. That's pretty impressive. So what now? Speaking of that, so looking forward, if you had a goal of where you see yourself, say in 4 years, 5 years, where would that? I know. I'm the guidance counselor now. Okay, you see yourself in 5 years, boys. Okay. Or maybe 5 years is too much. So maybe 2-3 years in the future, or some point in the future, where would you see yourselves, or where would you like to see yourselves? And by the way, no pressure. Your manager's right there.
If we're talking like 2 to 3 years, I want to put together like an album. Okay. That kind of touches on not just bass music, but just like this genre of music as a whole. Not you know what I'm saying? Like, and kind of adapt and bring in a lot of different feels to kind of create a masterpiece. In other words, Well,
listen, I wish you guys all the best. Listen, if it's possible. Because there's already there's been famous guys out there in this genre like Skrillex, and he's more into dubstep, but still it's in that same genre. So it is possible to do it, and I think I've heard you guys, and these guys are awesome. Okay, I'm not going to even attempt to use any modern day colloquialism. See how nerdy I am, but just they're awesome, and you need to check them out. So tonight you'll be here.
Pegasus nightclub, 9 to 3 a.m. We go on at 1 to 2 a.m., but come early. You're gonna want to see all the other DJs too. It's gonna be dope.
And is there now? How often, like if they're seeing this later and they want to come and see you guys, where can they check you guys out? What website? Where can they find you?
So we're on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud. That's it, right? We don't have anything else. Yeah, those 4.
And on the Graveyard Shift, huh? And it's BRTHRS of !LL. Okay. Although I'm pretty sure they'll find you if they just type in Brothers of Ill, they'll still find you. And by the way, who thought? I should have asked this at the first question. Who thought of that name?
It was kind of a collective thing. When we first started, we were actually a trio, and it was actually a good friend of ours, and stuff happened, and he ended up having to break off the group, and during that time, we thought of the name because we were all really good friends at the time, and it was kind of weird, like brothers, and we were like brothers of, and it just came up, and yeah.
We wanted something that you couldn't put the DJ in front of. Right. It's I like that. It speaks for itself. Yeah. And
I like the if you'll forgive me, the ill part, it harkens back. It's like you respect your past, and in a way. And actually, in a big way, that's exactly what you're doing with this, So, look, I know you guys are busy. So I want to thank you so much for your time. Do you guys have anything else to say to your fans or the viewing public that you would like them to know?
Yeah. We also have, we're playing with the big man Heckler, which is also touring dubstep DJs. He's got huge shows this upcoming year. May 11th and 12th, Orlando at Peak Nightclub. And then back here at Pegasus, the 12th, back-to-back nights. And then after that, we have some other big show announcements that I can't say anything about right now.
Hudson, Warehouse Party.
Hudson, June 2nd, Warehouse Party.
Yep.
And obviously they can find out more about it on the social media.
Yeah. Once we get closer, we post a lot more to kind of give specific details because that's when people start really looking for it. And then we have 2 other announcements that'll be coming out soon that we can't really talk about. But one's going to be in June. The other one's going to be in July. They're both huge. So stay tuned because We're coming.
Oh boy, here we go. Yes, they are. Guys, here we go on the Graveyard Shift Talk Show with the Brothers of Ill. And if you ain't at their party, then you're not at a party. So check them out, and we will see you guys later on the Graveyard Shift Talk Show. This is Emmy. Peace!